For some time, I actually thought of making, a video like this for some time now. Ralph is underrated. And Become the Killer Recode, he is underrated. What's up, everyone? Boost Cyber Studios here with another banger of a video. Holy shit. Today I'm actually gonna be doing another discussion video. Yes, it's been a minute since I did any of those. And today I'm gonna be talking about a very underrated killer in Become a Killer Recode. Specifically, a more tanky killer. This one is Ralph from another Roblox game, actually, Identity Fraud. So, we're gonna be talking about Ralph and why I think he is underrated. So let us begin, shall we? The first thing I want to go on about are his stats and his abilities. So let's go over to Ralph's stats first. Ralph has 200 health and 36 walk speed. Meanwhile, Ralph has two abilities. His attack, which does pretty great damage, but has a very long windup before you even get to do any sort of damage. His second ability being Scan, where Ralph will just stop moving, crouch, and he'll just reveal locations of survivors. Ralph is a slow but tanky killer that can deal pretty good damage. However, as time went on though, I still seen people play Ralph, but eventually Ralph is definitely going to end up falling apart, most likely. Which is why he is definitely an underrated tanky killer. Now, why am I saying that Ralph is a tanky killer? Well, no, tanky killer. What the fuck? I'm sorry, this video is not scripted, sorry if I made a fuck up there. But yeah, as I was trying to say, Ralph is not a bad killer. He's hard. He's definitely a high skill ceiling killer, if you really think about it. Because again, he's hard. It's hard to land him hits because his attack has a long windup. He still does pretty good damage, and he's tanky. But not only is he just pretty slow, but his attack it's just hard to land some hits because his attack has a long windup. You pretty much just gotta time your attacks perfectly and such. Now, Ralph is nowhere means a bad killer, but there's just a lot of things about Ralph that just any other tanky killer can just make things a lot better for well, there are just killers that can actually do their job better than Ralph, which again, Ralph is underrated cuz he's just completely out overpowered by any later tank killer that can do their job way easier and way better than Ralph. And for example, Smile Dog. Smile Dog may be slow, but he's got the dash ability, which makes him not only fucking dash towards you, but it's really good for catching up pretty much. Not only that, Smile Dog's attack also deals a pretty great amount of damage. However, Smile Dog's windup is faster than Ralph's when he attacks. So it's pretty simple that, of course, Smile Dog is the better option than Ralph. Let's go over to another tanky killer, Wendigo. Wendigo is also slow, but despite that, he also does pretty good damage. Plus, he has a passive ability where he can really highlight survivors after smacking them, and it's easier to land hits at him as well because his windup is also faster. Another thing too is that Smile Dog and Wendigo are less tankier than Ralph. But the fact that they're more easier to play as than Ralph himself clearly shows that like Ralph is just already behind enough. Why play Ralph when you can just play Smile Dog? Why play Ralph when you can just simply play as Wendigo and have a better time getting kills? Because people want to play easier killers. Nobody wants to play a killer that is hard to get used to. Ralph is hard, but that's the fun part. when you get good with Ralph, he's actually pretty good. He is still a good killer at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong. He does good damage, he's tanky and all that, but it's just there's just killers, especially the tanky killers, that can do their job a lot better than him. Oh yeah, we also got another tanky killer to talk about. Tank. Tank is stupidly more overpowered than Ralph. Not only is Tank like really way more faster than all the other tanks, he deals a lot of damage. More damage than all the other tanks in Become a Killer. Which, yeah, also another fucking killer that can do their job better than Ralph. You see what I'm getting here? Ralph is not just underrated because he's just hard to play. I also believe he's underrated because there's just, again, what's the point of playing Ralph if you can just play as the better tanks that can do their job a lot better? Like, and again, I see people still play Ralph still, but at some time, nobody's going to play as Ralph because, Ralph is just way too hard to play as, or people are going to say he's weak. Again, and I'm going to say this right now, Ralph is not weak. He was never a weak killer. He just has some pretty big downsides. But despite those downsides, he is still a good killer if you know how to use him correctly. You can't just pick up Ralph and expect to, do well, You gotta, kind of think or, know when to time your hits and such. He's not like other killers where, they attack really quick. No, you gotta kind of use your brain, know when to time your attacks and such, which is good. Ralph is pretty much a high skill ceiling character, obviously, despite the fact he really originates from another Roblox game, Identity Fraud. But then again, that doesn't matter that he has a high skill ceiling. Nobody wants to play as a character that has a high skill ceiling. Even though, really all the killers just play the exact same way most of the time. Run around, team with other killers, kill survivors. But there are killers that are just easy to play, and then there are killers that are just hard to play. Ralph is definitely one of those harder killers to play. He's still a good killer. It's just there are other tanky killers that just are better options than Ralph. I can even bring up freaking other tanky killers that are also hard to get used to, but they definitely can do their job better than Ralph can too. SCP-096. Despite the fact that he can easily be killed if there's an army of soldiers and such attacking him at once, but God forbid he's being protected by his teammates and he actually ends up fully raging, he does a fuck ton of damage and he actually runs somewhat faster than a survivor. So despite the fact that, he can only go in rage mode when he gets looked at, not to mention it takes a long time to get to rage mode. But it's once again, it's he can already do his job better than Ralph. Now again, I could be wrong about the Shy Guy, but who knows? Another thing killer I could talk about is the Doctor. Now the Doctor is obviously a lot more slower than Ralph, but why is he simply better than Ralph in a sense, despite being slower than Ralph and pretty much having the exact same amount of health as Ralph? It's simple. His passive ability. Whenever Doctor smacks the survivor with his hands, yeah, he damages them, but he also inflicts the poison effect on them, which slowly kills them. Now, the only way to get rid of the poison effect is to pretty much heal yourself with a medkit or get a med to heal you. But God forbid you don't have either of those, yeah, you're pretty much just cooked. So Doctor can just simply kill one guy. All he has to do is just smack one dude with his hands, and he just leaves them alone until they die. That's it. One hit, and then just the survivor just slowly dies to the poison effect. And Doctor is a support character, by the way. He's not a killer you just pick up and run around and such and kill survivors. No, he's a support. The whole reason why Doctor plays like that and why he's got the poison effect and all that is he's a support. The whole thing with his poison passive ability is to make the survivor more vulnerable for the other killers to actually get kills way easier. It's just simple as that. But still, even then, Doctor can just do his job better than Ralph because of that pass ability alone, unless they have a medic around or the survivor happen to have a med kit. But, like, you see what I mean? Unless and then we got like what, like maybe like two more tanky killers. Oh yeah, there's even. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring up another killer that I wouldn't even consider a tank, but he's technically kind of tanky in a sense that I think I should bring him up. Corrupted Noob. Yes, he has less health than Ralph, but like, first off, Corrupted Noob is just kind of overtuned. He's just very good. But then again, it's like he's just better than Ralph because he is slightly more tanky. He has like what 140 something health, so less health than Ralph, but still somewhat tanky in a sense. Um, then we got like not to mention like Corrupted Noob also runs faster than Survivor, and his attack is a fucking lunge. Again, I shouldn't really compare Ralph with Corrupted Noob, but like I feel like I should bring a Corrupted Noob because like motherfucker, there are times I actually try to kill Corrupted Noobs. Motherfucker doesn't die so easily because he's just somewhat tanky, you know. He's just tanky in a sense. I mean, then there's like other chaser killers that are somewhat tanky too, like fucking Donner. I think I don't know. It's like again, there's just killers that can just do their jobs better than Ralph. And then we got like the last two tanky killers I'm going to mention, Slenderman and Flowers. Both are tanky, but they can one shot, and they're way more slower than Ralph. The difference is that Flowers, the only difference is that Flowers' health is only 200, while Slenderman has a total of 400 health. So, despite the fact that Slenderman and Flowers are tanky killers, the only difference is how much health they have. That's just about it. Then again, they both play the exact same way because they one shot people, so it's like you just simply wait around an edge of a corner or something. You just wait for a survivor to come in, and boom, you jump scare them. Now, I'm not making this video to say that, oh, you guys should play Ralph again. No, I'm making this video because Ralph definitely deserves the love he needs. Yeah, I know Ralph originates from a different Roblox game, but it's just the fact that, like, Ralph is so underrated now, specifically because there's just tanky killers that can just completely, like, do better than, Ralph. Like, Ralph is completely, like, overshadowed by the rest of the other tanky killers. The whole power creep stuff, like there are like all the other tanks can do their job in their own in their own sense and become the killer. It's just Ralph is like the only tanky killer that is hard to play, because the other ones are more easy to play. I'm not saying he should be buffed or anything. I'm just saying like Ralph is underrated. And honestly, I do think people should at least give Ralph a shot. Yeah, he's hard to play. He's not as easy to play as like the other tanks. But Ralph can actually be quite fun to play as when you actually get good at timing your hits. Um, and pretty much just get good as him as well. Like as I said before, timing your hits perfectly well. Ralph is nowhere near a bad killer. He just takes time to get good with. He's not easy like the other tanks. He's just hard. But it makes it fun. Because again, like, you want to time your hits correctly and such. He's still good. Hell, I've seen Ralph players absolutely destroy survivors in certain lobbies. Like, come on, even like players can actually, even like randoms I see can actually do pretty well at Ralph. So it's like, it's not just me. But yeah, in my personal opinion, Ralph is just underrated because, well, again, he's just completely like overshadowed by the other tanks that can just do better than him. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. I'm Buzo Studios. I'll see you all next time.